that truly this is an alternative strategy, right? It's outside of internal investment strategy. It's even outside of that, right? And the key here is, I think one of the biggest keys to take away, I'll use an example of $100,000. When you come into the program with $100,000, effectively you're doing 1.2 million in microloans for the year. Okay, that's why we're able to pay you guys the interest rates of 1 or 3% a month, okay? It's because you're over that level of the threshold of $50,000 that's earning 3% a month. And that's how we can effectively pay you guys that type of interest, because we are making money and we're passing along the interest to you guys as well, okay? So let's just go ahead and get started. I'm sure people are gonna be walking in and out. Just to reinforce what we talked about this morning, 4 billion people around the globe that don't have access. Kenya has their fair share of this. I'll give you an example. There's 400 companies in Kenya that operate in this business model, okay? The only difference between us and the other 400 is the minimums and the maximums, right? They're all 30-day loans and the interest rates. There are Kenyan companies that they're actually charging 30 to 40% a month interest on 30-day loans, okay? We're at the bottom end. We're at the high end of 20 to 24 and the low end of 8 to 12. Our monthly margins are usually about 18%. And then we pay you, the lender. We actually then pay our commissions to our consultants. And then we have operating costs in Kenya. We have operating costs in the US, and we net usually 4 to 5% a month, okay? Remember, we're at $62 million a month right now. 4 to 5% times 12 is a nice chunk of change, okay? Again, our story, we started in 2018. We really want to empower everyday American lenders like yourself by offering a microloan platform that facilitates wealth building while contributing to the growth of underserved nations. Our mission is to bridge the financial gap, enabling medium and small micro enterprises in Kenya to thrive, right? Medium and small micro enterprises, we know them as street vendors in the United States. Kenya has a $19.1 billion shortfall in capital. If you look at across Africa, any of the rags that you read when you do your due diligence, you're going to see that Africa has over $330 billion in a gap of capital, and Kenya has their fair share. Our approach is innovative. We started offering microloans ranging from $5 to $500, and 90% of our loans are for business purposes, okay? The industry rate of default is 6.3. We're at 2.7. So we have definitely demonstrated our commitment to responsible lending. And a key piece of what we do is we have a partnership with Comply Advantage. They support us on our AML and KYC features, right? One, when you come into the program, your name goes through their database. It takes all of 2.1 seconds to find out if you are, who you tell us you are. And then also it tells us if you're wiring money or your banking is a legitimate bank. A key here, right, where we started in 2018, that bleeds into 2019. We were averaging $1.6 million in microloans per month. You can see we've grown over time. I came on board early 2022. We were doing about $10 to $12 million at that point. We finished the year doing $17.5 million in microloans. You can see we grew to 36.4 in 2023. Our PYE for 2024 is 54.5 million. We've blown that out of the water. We're at 62 million now. And you can see we've grown with our lenders as well, okay, over time. Just to go through this real quick, just keep this in mind. We get 260,000 requests for microloans a day. That's incredible. And we can only fulfill 10 to 12%. So our average is 36.8 thousand loans daily. Monthly, that averages out to 1.1 million. If you look at from a dollar standpoint, that's 2.1 million in microloans per day, 62 million for a month, and the average loan is $57. Okay. Like I said earlier, you don't have to be a math genius to do this, but when the average loan is $57 and we're doing 1.1 million loans per month, 80% of those loans are below that number, okay? Just to give you an idea who's borrowing money. Reinforce what microlending is, right? It's a heavily supported by peer-to-peer lending, digital capabilities that connect lenders like yourself, lending platforms like Positiviti, and borrowers across the world. There are many different microloan platforms online. Again, in Kenya, there's 400 companies. Everybody has the same business model. The only differences are the minimums and the max that they allow and the interest rates. Microlending is a process of connecting a borrower and a lender for a non-traditional smaller loan. A borrower usually uses microloans if they do not have access to local financial institutions, which we know that for a fact. And lenders turn to microloans to earn higher rates of return and diversify their portfolios. Our competitors are Tala Branch, Kiva. Tala does about 200 million, or they started the year doing 200 million, so I'm sure they're well over that. Branch is at 135. And Kiva does, in Kenya, they do about $2.5, $3 million a month, but they're in 77 countries, okay? So Kenya's not where they concentrate their business. Venture capitalists and private equity groups have been involved since 2014 with $844 million. Again, reinforcing the fact that the micro industry is real. These folks don't get involved for the kindness of their heart. They get involved because they're getting 40% returns annually on what they're investing. We talked about the financial advisors. The only reason I have that up there is because when we first started talking about this program and coming to these type of events, the first comment was, hey, let me talk to my financial advisor. I want to get his feedback before I get involved. And 9 out of 10 financial advisors have no idea what microlending is, okay? And it's just the truth. How Positiviti Lending works, you have lending funds that come into the loan pool. We have qualified borrowers. We build cumulative interest. Interest gains are then reported to you, the lender. Dr. Barry Odhiambo is our co-founder and CFO. He came to the United States in 2017, knocked on 1,000 doors, got turned down 1,000 times because nobody understood what he was trying to do. The company I work for, World Workforce International, partnered with Barry. They started with $6,000. That's how the company started. They didn't have an app. They used vouchers. And they turned that into what we're doing today, $62 million a month. Pretty crazy story. Because of our success in Kenya, 3.5 years ago, they opened a Fresa, which is basically a credit union. And we have 60,000 members. Now, what does that mean, right? That means the algorithm's working. That means 60,000 people have gone through the system, okay, and now have positive credit history so that they now have financial services available to them. Now, once they get into the credit union, they can get business loans up to $10,000, okay? And those are usually 1, 2, or 3 years as far as the loan requirements. Reiterate what we said earlier about M-Pesa. It's the trusted Kenyan mobile banking service that enables users to transfer funds, pay bills, and make purchases via their phones. They do over $365 billion in transactions. We know that half of that is out of Kenya because they're available in 7 other countries. Now, we do have expansion plans. If we were to expand, we would look at those 7 other countries because they're already using the system that we know how to use, okay? The process for receiving loans in Kenya, our app is Africash. It's a mobile application that offers microloans to micro enterprises in Kenya. It utilizes the Metropole Corporation, which is out of Nairobi, for credit checks. We know that a vast majority of the folks that are applying for loans don't have credit or they have bad credit, but they still go through the system. If someone has bad credit, we'll ask them to share 3 months of cell phone data, meaning they've paid their cell phones over the last 3 months. And if they share that data with us, they can get in at the very minimum of the loans that are available. And most importantly, this is key because we know through the application process, businesswomen and young adults 18 plus make up 70% of the loans. Businesswomen make up 60% of that total. And, you know, we know for a fact that when you empower a woman in Kenya, she in turn empowers the community around her, which means they're participating in the economy, they're gaining confidence. That confidence spills over into the household, which means that kids are going to school and they're eating on a regular basis. So how can you start earning 36% today? Well, we have 3 levels of participation. Again, we would deal with retail and accredited investors. We don't have a minimum for the accredited investors. The minimum to get in is $1,000, and you can start earning 12%, 1% a month. If you have the means to get over $50,000, that's a great opportunity because you earn 3% a month, 36% for the year. Now, we do have a platinum level as well. If you come in over $1 million, you can earn 3%, 36% for the year, and you get a 3% bonus. Now, we don't have anybody that's come in at $1 million, but we do have some lenders that have reached the $1 million mark as they've grown over the last couple of years. We do have a friends and family plan where you and 4 other individuals can pull your money to get to $50,000 to start making the 3%, 36% a year. Pretty easy example there. You know, it's a great way if you want to get your toes in the water and try the program, build some confidence. This is a good opportunity for you. Here's an example at 100,000 lending level. You look at, you know, you compound every year. At 100,000 down to the 10th year, you would have interest earned in 10 years is just over $2 million. Now, we've only been around for 6 years, right? We have a lot of folks in this area right here, in the 4th to 6th year. And as you can see, you know, if you look at the $342,000 level, you're earning $123 in interest. And some of those folks are, you know, using that as passive income opportunities. This is our lending process. We have this on an acetate at our booth if you want to really dig into it. I won't spend a lot of time on it. But as you can see, look, you're watching the presentation today. You're going to have FAQs. You go to the application page, wire cashier's check, goes to our bank. Those funds get wired to the M-Pesa wallet for Open Valley Investments Group. And then that's where it's available to the borrowers, right? So then what the borrowers go through, right, in the checkpoints. So how do you become a lender? You work with our consultant team. Real simple, you go to on-site, go to the enrollment platform. Very easy to register. You'll need 2 forms of ID. One, obviously, driver's license. You can use your passport if you like. Or you can use any statement that you have that shows your address, right? You can black out the personal information. We just need a second form of ID that verifies that you live at the address you say you live at, okay? We only take, for the initial enrollment, we only take a wire and cashier's check. Once you're in the program, you can add money at any time. And the money you add can be via credit card, ACH, or wire or cashier's check. Okay, we have folks that are using credit cards. Why? Because they're getting points. Okay. I talked about this earlier. Just the fact that in 2015, the IRS concluded that the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. Interest income was part of that, and peer-to-peer lending was a viable source of passive income. Okay, so at the end of the day, you know, we want to make sure anything that we can share with you folks that are out there, that you know, peer-to-peer lending is a viable source of passive income. Business Wire had this report saying that the microlending industry was going to grow to $87 billion by 2030. So again, reinforcing that this is a viable industry and a great opportunity for you. Same thing here. That's what I shared earlier. The announcement with Microsoft and G42, $1 billion comprehensive digital ecosystem initiative for Kenya. That's great news because, we are using a digital banking service. So if the digital infrastructure of Kenya is going to grow with this investment, it's going to help, and it's going to help the borrowers get to more capital. And then this was good news 2 weeks ago. Safaricom, who launched M-Pesa, is talking with Starlink. Starlink would be available in Kenya probably in the next couple of months. Just so you can see, year-end results from 2023, we grew 10.5 million, 110% growth versus 2022. We had 198 new members. And if you look at where we are today through October 1st, we've grown by $15.3 million. We were able to raise 165% growth, 175 new members. If we don't raise another dollar after today, we'd still do $744 million in microloans for the year. That's a big number. And we're one of the small companies.
You do this in an IRA?
Yes, so we do have a custodian, qualified custodian. It's Oasis Retirement Trust. And you can roll over into that account. You can pick the microloan program as your vehicle, right, to invest in.
How do they, if you have a Positiviti account in that, do they combine?
No, they're separate accounts.
So the levels are completely separate with
Yeah, so Oasis, if you pick the microloan program as your investment vehicle, you're either at 1% or 3% a month, right? If you can choose other means, meaning a mutual fund, short index, long index, but then that portion of money, is part of the roller coaster ride, right, of the stock market. So there's no guarantees on that side either. I mean, it is what the market is. I have had some folks bring in $100,000, 50,000 in short-term and long-term indexes, and 50,000 in the microloan program.
Is there a set, if you have other accounts at Oasis, do they charge for each of those accounts?
No, we don't have any fees on that side as well.
Oh, even if you have multiple accounts,
Yeah,
like a traditional IRA?
Correct.
Oh,
That's one thing we don't have is fees.
wow.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, so the IRA is free then?
correct. You're not gonna get charged management fees or administrative fees, anything like that.
And what do you get, what kind of tax, if you have a regular account, what type of tax form do you get?
So you'll get a 1099 INT only on interest that you disperse, okay? As long as you keep the money in the program, you won't receive a 1099. So let's say you wait till year 3 and you want to take out 3 years of that interest. Obviously, that's going to be a big portion. It'd probably be over $100,000 at a $100,000 commitment. You would get taxed then, right? But that's how we handle tax purposes. Again, you get a 1099 INT. Remember, you're not investing in Positiviti. There aren't dividends. There aren't stock options. You are participating in a peer-to-peer lending program, okay? And that's why you get a 1099 INT.
Which
Yes.
comes, sorry, the 1099 INT comes from Positiviti?
Yes, yes.
So the only way to participate in your microloan program with IRA money is to go through Oasis?
Go through our sister company, correct, yes.
Now, Rudy, can a business use Oasis Retirement Trust as their 401k provider for all their employees?
Yeah, if you have a small business and you want to provide a program similar to a 401k plan, you can go into Oasis Retirement Trust, register as a business, then you would outline the individuals in your business that now have access to this plan, right? And as a group, you got over $50,000, everyone would start earning 3%.
So they could handle like a solo 401k?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we have an individual in Fresno. He's a AI business. He has 10 people in it. Some of them are contributing up to $500 out of their paychecks. Others are doing $100. But Again, just like a regular 401k, it's starting to build. So that's an opportunity as well.
The other thing, they're 30-day loans.
Yes.
Are there ever gaps between, or since it seems like your presentation, you've got a lot more people looking for money, so your money probably turns over?
It turns over. There's folks that are taking loans out 4 times a month. Yeah. So 90% of the people that are borrowing from us are folks that have borrowed, continuously, right? They stay in our program. So we don't have to vet every time, right? We already know that these guys are working with us and we have history with them.
Can they pay back early?
Yes, but they still pay back the same interest.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. There's no gains in paying early, but you got to pay by 30 days. Remember, we're doing 1.1 million loans a month, so it's pretty crazy when you think about it, okay? But everyone has to realize in a typical loan, right, from your bank, it's based on a year, right? And your interest is based on that year. These are 30-day cycles, okay? So your money goes out 12 times in a calendar year. And you become the bank. How many times have you sat across your banker and asked them how much money they're making on a loan? Huh? Has anyone ever done that? I have. They don't like those questions.
Is there any retail stores, or how do these people find you?
So, obviously we have the credit union, so we do a lot of promotion at the credit union.
And they have stores.
We have 2 locations, okay? The other thing is we do social media in Kenya that helps, and then a lot of it's word of mouth. But we're doing 32,000 loans a day. It's crazy.
Yeah, can you explain how Kenya is, people they are using, like, all this, if it's mom and pop shops, how are they all they're making transactions with their customers digitally?
Everything's digital.
in Kenya.
Have you ever gone to a Starbucks and tapped your phone and paid for your coffee?
Yeah.
Okay, that's how they do every
I
transaction.
think it would be like a cash society, though.
No, because that's a perception, right? The
Yeah.
perception is that they're a third world country, okay? And they're trading nickels and dimes. That's not the case. Everything's done digitally. 98% adoption rate of using this technology. Again, you go back to the M-Pesa numbers, $365 billion a year in transactions. This is not a third world country. This is a progressive, developing country with investment coming in. Microsoft, Starlink, Visa 3 years ago came in with $300 million to support Branch, which is our U.S. competitor, because they bought a bank, and Visa invested $300 million in Kenya.
Things must have changed a lot in like 20 years.
Yes.
Because I went there 20 years ago, and it was.
More people speaking English. Okay. Yeah, more people getting an education, and with a 98% adoption rate of the digital system, says a lot about where they're going. Yes, you're good.
I was just thinking that it sounds like they don't have the baggage of our old infrastructures and leaped over.
They've leaped over, yes. Think about it. We today, I'm sure there's somebody in here that still uses an ATM and pays the $4.50, the service fee, right? We don't even think twice about that. Yes.
So do they have traditional banks over there?
Yes. And that's usually for the wealthy people,
But
which is only, 2 to 3% of their population.
So this is their lifestyle, to borrow
From the microloan platforms, yes.
rather than just banking like we do.
Right. Because they have very low credit history, right? Or no credit, they can't even walk into a bank. And these are the only vehicles that will allow them to borrow capital. Remember, there's 400 companies operating in this space. And with 400 companies operating in this space, we only cover 20% of the people that need access to capital. It would take $4 trillion today to make sure everyone had access. That's impossible. That'll never happen. It won't happen in our lifetime. But we can put a dent in it, right? We all come together. You know, you talked about this earlier this morning. Everyone has the means that was in that meeting this morning to put $10,000 into this program. And if you got 200 people putting in $10,000, that's $2 million. But effectively, that's $24 million in a 12-month cycle of microloans. That's how we're going to put a dent in this. And not just our company, but the other 400 that are operating in this space. Again, the biggest thing here is the social economic impact, okay? You're helping folks that don't have access to capital. And you're making some money and putting it in your pocket. All right, thank you so much. You guys will be here tomorrow as well, so if you have questions, come by the exhibit booth. We'd be happy to talk to you, okay? Thank you so much.